Hi everyone, a very good morning to all. I hope you all are doing good in these testing times. Today, I am here with a video which is all about the most dreaded and challenging part of the ICSE English syllabus, that is, The Merchant of Venice by none other than William Shakespeare. This video is all about its introduction, concepts, and important aspects of a successful Shakespearean comedy. So, before probing deep into its narrative and complicated dialogues, let us start discussing the all important and delicate details of The Merchant of Venice. Let's trace back to the real concepts of a Shakespearean comedy. The actual domain of The Merchant of Venice is comedy. Shakespearean comedy is a genre of its own, where Shakespeare himself is the ultimate master. Comedies of his predecessors like Moliere and Ben Jonson are quite different compared to Shakespeare. Earlier to Shakespearean comedy, which was primarily satirical and intellectual, at the same time very toxic in approach, that tried to mock any particular convention or folly. Whereas Shakespearean comedies are simple, loose, where different elements are not integrated by any cerebral idea. His comedies are mostly meant for entertainment. Shakespearean comedies play with our lighter, soft emotions, tickling us with his unbridled humorous quotient. The comic plays of William Shakespeare take the audience for a fairy tale ride, often departing from the real world. The Merchant of Venice is believed to be composed right at the tail end of the Elizabethan period, somewhere ranging between 1596 to 1598. It is, however, perceived as one of Shakespeare's retiring works of art, written in the late 16th century, despite infested with tragic notions or perceptions, whatever you call it to be. The Merchant of Venice is regarded as a successful comedy. Despite some gory and horrific elements in the play, where the supervillain Shylock is brutally trying to murder and extract revenge from the protagonist Antonio, The Merchant of Venice is still rendered to be a successful comedy for the following reasons. The narrative of The Merchant of Venice concludes with a happy ending, which is one of the primary factors of a Shakespearean comedy that leads to the abortion of crisis right at the end. You will also find that in spite of all the tragic concerns, you will not witness any depth of any central or subordinate characters in the play. The play induces no bloodbath and therefore imparts the message of togetherness, happiness, and magnanimity. The third and a very important criterion rests on the matrimonial alliance between two central or subordinate Shakespearean characters in the play. Even in The Merchant of Venice and other Shakespearean comedies, an apparent marriage scene right at the end is a must. For example, you may follow The Tempest and The Midsummer Night's Dream as a point of reference, where a marriage scene right at the tail end of the narrative is very evident. Poetic justice in Shakespearean comedy becomes a very important suggestive detail. It is a concept that requires serious discussion. Shakespearean comedy offers the best scope for injecting poetic justice, where the protagonist triumphs over the difficulties, rather the evil that besets him, and eventually garners victory and our accolades. Poetic justice is a concept of dramatic expression where the evil or vice is punished and goodness or virtue is eventually rewarded. For example, here in this play, Merchant of Venice, Shylock, the antagonist or the evil agent, is punished, and Antonio, the virtuous protagonist, is redeemed at the end of the play. Last but not the least, evolution of strong feminine characters in Shakespearean comedies has always been a trend. It is one important feature that often gets overlooked in other comedies. Unlike his predecessors, Shakespeare regarded his female characters as a vital cog in his dramatic exposition. His female characters are placed at the center of his dramatic interest and appeal. Strangely, such developments led to the evolution of comic heroines who often did not get their due credit in patriarchy. These characters are well crafted, providing them with sufficient variations. For example, the character of Portia in Merchant of Venice is a fine portrayal of a woman with variations and vigor, is often underplayed in front of the character Shylock, despite her progressive and novelty in approach. Thank you for all your patience. Have a good day.